watching WAFF 48 News on your side with Liz Hurley, Margot Gray, and Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. WAFF 48 News at 4 starts now.
Good Monday afternoon, everyone. This is the streaming version of WAFF 48 News at 4. I'm Liz Hurley.
And I'm Margot Gray. We start this portion of our coverage in the Shoals, where there is an arrest warrant out for the murder of a 16-year-old Damilah Nixon Johnson in Sheffield. WAFF 48's Aria Pons is live in Sheffield for us this afternoon. Aria, Sheffield police want the public's help to lead them right to that suspect.
Sheffield Police Chief Ricky Terry has said that there has been a warrant put out for the arrest of Amarion Nizer Bethany for the murder of Nixon Johnson. Now, this is Bethany. Officials say that he also goes by the name of Ghost. They added that he should be considered armed and dangerous. Officers responded to South Nashville Avenue at about 1 a.m. after a shooting was reported nearly 2 weeks ago. Officers say they found Nixon Johnson, who was just 16 years old, lying in the grass suffering from a gunshot wound to the back. She was taken to Helen Keller Hospital, which was just 2 blocks away from where she was found, but she later died. Investigators say that she was at a birthday party of sorts and that she was not the intended target of the drive-by shooting. We still have not been told who the target was. We also don't know what part Bethany allegedly played in her death or if anyone else was in the car. I did reach out to Chief Terry for more information on the case, but he says as the investigation is still ongoing and it is a high priority case that he can't give me much information than he already has. Reporting live in Sheffield, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
All right, thank you, Aria. Now to a 48 News update. A former UH professor convicted of strangling his wife to death is up for parole.
Andrew Pokemov serving a 45-year prison sentence for the murder of his wife Yelena back in 2006. WAFF 48's Callie Neese live now in Huntsville. Callie, this will be Pokemov's first opportunity for parole.
Pokemov is currently serving a 45-year sentence at Red Eagle Work Correctional Center in Montgomery. It's a low-security prison where they give prisoners jobs with the state. A rep from the Bureau of Parole says this is the first time that he can be tried for parole, and it is the earliest that he can be tried. He was convicted of murder in 2009 after investigators said he strangled his wife Yelena Zatkin in 2006. She was first reported missing, but her body was found 3 days later in the Tennessee River. Pokemov has served the first of his third sentence, and tomorrow will be his first chance to get out of prison early. Earlier today, I spoke with Zatkin's daughter, and she is currently flying to Montgomery to give a statement at tomorrow's parole hearing. She says she hopes her statement keeps her mother's abuser behind bars.
If nothing else, the reason I'm talking to you and the reason part of the reason I'm going down is to raise awareness for domestic violence. It's not okay. It is not okay. My mom didn't survive her abuser, but I hope that, anybody who needs help is able to go get help. That's the most important thing.
If you or someone you know is struggling with domestic violence, the number for the domestic violence hotline is on your screen. Coming up at 5, Alexandra tells me what it was like to testify all those years ago. Reporting live in Huntsville, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
Overall, dry out there, mostly sunny. We do have some rogue showers, we'll call them, and we're going to see these for the rest of the week, but really that chance of rain, less than 10%. The heat is the big story. Let's go to the radar. You can see a couple of showers here. One on the north side of Athens, the other one as you get down towards just south of Lacey's Spring there, just south of the bridge, and those will continue to pop up. We've got one near Newmarket, but again, these don't last very long at all. In fact, I only expect about a 10-15 minute delay if you get that at all. Huntsville, a little hazy out there too, as we see a temperature of 93 degrees. Over the next 12 hours, it's going to cool down slowly. Morning lows somewhere between 70 and 75 degrees. So overall, much hotter weather expected the next few days, less likely to see significant rain. So the drought, as we had improvement the last week or so on that, we're going to start to see that drought grow again across the area. We'll have that drought monitor coming up Thursday. I'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Brad. Happening right now, deputies in Limestone County are searching for a person who intentionally set fire to a home. Limestone County fire crews were called to Keaton Road this afternoon for that fire. No one was injured. Right now, it's unclear how the fire started, but officials believe it was set deliberately. There are no details right now about a suspect, but we will keep you updated as we learn more.
We have new details behind a Coleman County kidnapping attempt that ended with 2 men behind bars. Take a look. These 2 men, Robert Hollis and Andre Cauchin, are both facing charges after allegedly trying to lure children from the Sportsman Lake Park using ice cream. So the pair are now both charged with attempted kidnapping. Deputies say the 2 men are being held without bond as an investigation continues.
A former DeKalb County Reserve deputy back behind bars facing new charges today. Court records show Joshua Wells is facing additional sexual abuse charges, accused of forcing himself on a 15-year-old. Wells was arrested on similar charges last month. He has since been fired from the sheriff's office. A bond hearing will be held this Thursday. Meantime, in Madison County, a Town Creek man will be tried for a deadly Huntsville shooting. Paul Rambert has been indicted for murder by a Madison County grand jury. He's accused of shooting and killing Michael Williams in 2022. Rambert is currently out of jail on bond.
A Muscle Shoals teen is dead after a motorcycle crash in Florence. Florence police say 18-year-old Jesse James was riding his motorcycle along Helton Drive when he collided with another car. Police say that crash happened just north of Rickwood Road. James was killed in the crash. The other driver was taken to North Alabama Medical Center for treatment, but is expected to be okay. The cause of that crash is under investigation.
In Limestone County, an Athens man is dead after a head-on collision near Ardmore. State troopers say 44-year-old Brandon Cooley was killed after he collided with another driver on Highway 53 near Ardmore. Investigators say Cooley was not wearing a seatbelt. Another driver was also injured in that crash and was airlifted to Huntsville Hospital. Right now, there is no word on her condition. The cause of the crash still under investigation. A Tennessee Valley funeral home hosting a fundraiser in hopes of supporting a Madison County detective after he was hit by a speeding driver while directing traffic. The Valhalla Funeral Home is hosting a fundraising event this Saturday for Detective Josh Mosley. Mosley was monitoring construction work on I-565 when he was struck by a speeding driver who plowed straight into his cruiser. He suffered 12 broken ribs and 2 broken vertebrae in that crash. He was rushed to the hospital, put in ICU, where he spent 8 days recovering and learning to walk again. Saturday's event will include vendors, food, and games, all to help support Mosley's recovery.
Well, the stock market just closed an hour ago with blue chip stocks falling more than 1,000 points.
We are on your side this afternoon with what this means for your investments, specifically your 401k. WAFO 48's Matthew King live now for us in Huntsville. Matthew, experts aren't fearing for the worst despite today's big drop.
Liz, experts with the Welch Group tell me the market is volatile, constantly changing, so change like this is destined to happen. However, they say for some there might be some cause for concern, especially those closer to retirement age. Now, experts say the reason they believe this started was some discouraging employment numbers that came out last week. On top of that, international markets like Japan aren't showing any signs of speeding up either. But despite that, senior advisor Jay McGowan says we still don't know the full effects of this drop just yet. He told me for those saving money in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, this is not something that should worry you at all. For those nearing retirement, though, he suggests analyzing what assets you have and how they are individually impacted by the market.
I don't think that what's going on right now is necessarily anything in and of itself to be afraid of. These things happen, but I think that it may be a wake-up call for people to kind of say, hey, I need to really understand my portfolio and what it is I own and why I own it and what it's doing for me in particular.
I'll have what experts think you should do with your investments during this drop coming up at 5. Reporting live in Huntsville, Matthew King, 48 on your side.
Well, 48 is on your side, getting you ready to head back to school. Today, leaders with AT&T teamed up with Drake State Community College for a laptop giveaway. Now, throughout the day, AT&T handed out 70 refurbished laptops to Drake State students in need. Today's event comes as part of a company-wide initiative to help give 20,000 students across the nation laptops before starting class. Right now, experts say about 15% of Alabama households don't have access to the internet. Drake State principal President Dr. Patricia Sims says events like this will help bridge the gap, the digital divide in our area.
Well, we're really fortunate that we live in a community that recognizes needs in our community, and we have a very strong adult education program here at Drake State, and AT&T has been a significant partner for us for a number of years. They've donated grants, previous grants, to support digital literacy, so it is a priority for them and a priority for our community, because otherwise these families would not be able to access online programs, services, and resources.
So Dr. Sims said this event just shows Drake State's dedication to keeping up with growth across the Tennessee Valley. Now, a lot of Colbert County emergency responders trained this morning for new safety scenarios involving the Colbert County school system. 2 scenarios were enacted having to do with school shooters were reenacted. Sheriff Eric Ballantyne says he wants to make sure that a plan is in place just in case anything happens. Sheriff Ballantyne says they picked Colbert Heights High School because of the problems it presented, being on the mountain and having bad service for cell phones and communication systems. He says each year they will have a drill just like this and change the school location. He added he is not just a sheriff, but a grandparent. He says he has 2 grandchildren attending schools in Colbert County this year.
I've got a big interest in what goes on and how safe our schools are. I would not hesitate to feel comfortable sending my grandson into these schools, not only because of our guys, but the school does a very good job, the Board of Education. They invest a lot of money with these companies to be sure that locking mechanisms are in place.
Sheriff Ballantyne added that he wants every parent or guardian to feel like their loved ones are safe.
With students flooding back to the classroom, cutting back on teen vaping is top of mind for many administrators. Napa Valley Police Department is sending out a warning to parents and teachers about hidden vape pens. Check this out. The Ider Police Department recently posted this picture showing how a vape cartridge can be hidden inside a pen. You can see instructions on how these devices can be secretly used in the classroom by posing as school supplies. We spoke to Stephen Malone, Ider's chief of police. He says while these devices are primarily advertised as nicotine vapes, they can be used for other substances too.
Now, it's not just nicotine, it's fentanyl, THC, there's Delta 8. I mean, it's just anything, and they can fill their own pods now. So once you use your nicotine pod, people start to want to experiment and try different things and make it themselves. So that's kind of where I think the danger is really getting.
Malone went on to encourage parents to pay very close attention to their children as they head back to class. And if you notice odd behavior from your teen, try talking to them to get to the root of the problem.
Still ahead, if you're looking to go grocery shopping, more variety is coming to Fort Payne. Hear how this new business is boosting economic growth in DeKalb County as well.
Plus, a Valley family preparing to move into their brand new home, all thanks to the help of a national organization. How locals are putting the finishing touches on this project next.
In just 2 days, Fort Payne residents will have a wider variety of grocery stores to choose from.
This Wednesday, a new Food City will open on Galt Avenue. WAFO 48 Savannah Sapp joins us live from that brand new store in Fort Payne. This is big doings there for that city. Savannah, this will be Fort Payne's 4th grocery store.
That's right, Liz. I spoke with President and CEO of Food City, Steve Smith, today, who says this store right behind me is going to represent a big change for shoppers in DeKalb County. The 54,000 square foot supermarket will open at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Smith says it will offer a variety of goods outside of fresh produce, such as a butcher, a scratch bakery, and even a pharmacy. He says this will all be offered at competitively low prices compared to other major super centers in the surrounding area. Smith says this is the 3rd Food City to open in North Alabama, and it will help aid in the mission to provide more affordable food options for everyone.
We opened our first store in Albertville. Our second store was in Gadsden, and now we're filling in with the 3rd store, which is going to be in Fort Payne, DeKalb County. So it's really a natural progression. It's an opportunity for our folks to grow professionally and for us to extend our footprint.
Well, coming up at 6, hear from members of DeKalb County's Economic Development Authority on how this new store could foster an economic boom in this area. For now, reporting live in Fort Payne, Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
All right, thank you, Savannah. So we all know the city of Huntsville is growing. Now leaders at the airport are working to accommodate more travelers going through its gates. Airport leaders say so far Huntsville International already hit its all-time daily record of occupied parking spots this summer. By the end of June, some 90% of spots were filled. While the growth is exciting for the airport, fighting for parking can really stress out passengers. We know that firsthand. So Talon Walton with Huntsville International says they're rolling out new plans to help keep up with demand.
We are always monitoring, especially on our peak travel days, to see what those numbers are looking like across our parking options. And so we want to make sure that we are keeping an eye on that and preparing for the growth that we are continuously seeing. And so we do have plans that are in the beginning stages, including an overflow lot.
So she adds that once that lot is finished, it'll add around 300 parking spaces for travelers.
A new Habitat for Humanity home is currently under construction in Marshall County. Director Melissa Shell says the organization builds one home for a lucky recipient every 3 years, and their next build is set to be complete by September. The house is located in Albertville, and Shell says it's going to be a woman recipient who recently lost her husband. She says the recipient is contributing her own sweat equity by joining in with volunteers on the construction. She also says these houses are funded solely by generous donations from the community, and SoCo Roofing provided the new roof. Shell says this build would not have been possible without the community support.
The monetary support leading up to the build from the businesses in the community here in Marshall County was fantastic. You know, without the support that they have given us financially, we would not be able to build this house because houses are not cheap. Building a house today is not cheap.
Shell says Habitat for Humanity will hold a dedication ceremony for this recipient in September.
Well, big changes are coming to Sheffield, and city leaders want your input. This week, area leaders are asking you to attend a meeting to discuss a proposed overpass. So our news partners over at the Times Daily say the meeting will happen this Thursday from 4 until 6 p.m. at the Sterling Boulevard Church of Christ. City leaders say the meeting will be used to get public feedback on 3 proposed options for a Sheffield overpass. During this meeting, project leaders will go over how much that overpass will cost, the design, and how it will impact the local environment. The overpass will reportedly span the Norfolk Southern Railway tracks that move through the city.
Now, your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis.
A quiet Monday afternoon. There are a few isolated little downpours out there. They only last for about 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Let's go ahead and take a look at traffic right now in Huntsville. It is 93 degrees. It's only going to get hotter as we go through the rest of the week, and that heat index will climb too. Westbound out there, looking west on the horizon from the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. Traffic's in pretty good shape out there, but we're just at the beginning of the rush hour here on this Monday afternoon. Notice a few little spotty showers here, little red dots, and that's about it. One near Athens, it's already gone. So these last about 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes at most, and they're just really not putting out much rain at all, but a brief little downburst, that's about it. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, we wake up upper 60s, low 70s. We continue with that northwest breeze, but not a whole lot of wind to go on with this, and this is all wrapping around from Debbie, and we'll get to Tropical Storm Debbie here in a second, but overall, fairly quiet start to the day. We've got some of these clouds that kind of come in from the east, tracking to the west, but it's 11:30 and it's already 91 degrees in many areas. So another very hot day on the way here. And as I mentioned, they only get hotter as we progress through the rest of the work week. By 4 o'clock tomorrow, looking at a high probably somewhere between 94 and 96 on our way down as we get into the rest of the afternoon. Just a few high clouds here in the Cumberland Plateau up there, and then also down towards Sand Mountain, Lookout Mountain, and Brindley Mountain. And by 7:45, overall, I wish I could say it's going to be a nice, cool evening, but it's not. It's still August, right? We're early on in August. All the rain this week for the next week is going to be confined on the track of the tropical storm here, and it's just going to be a real slow-moving system. We expect a high probability of flooding from coastal Georgia, just inland there, all the way into the Carolinas. So some real big issues here. Tropical storm right now, winds at 50 miles per hour, slowly moving northeast at 6 miles per hour. It continues to, you see all these really close together. That's because it's moving so slow, and that's why it's such a big problem with the heavy rainfall that's going to come out of all of this. And then again, it goes off the coast here a little bit with the forecast track, and that's the problem. It kind of goes stationary, so big time flooding problems there in the Carolinas. Here's the latest radar tornado watch from Charleston, just to the north of Jacksonville. I believe that's probably going to include Savannah, but down here finally starting to dry out from Daytona Beach, south of Tampa, and down to Fort Myers, but they're still dealing with some of those wraparound bands of heavy rainfall. Here's your forecast. Rain chances, again, it's less than 10%. I can't rule out these rogue showers that we've had the last few days. As we get into Friday, we'll start to see a better chance of these isolated showers and storms that pop up with the heating of the day, and that's about it. 10-day forecast, 96 tomorrow. 97 Wednesday. Trash Panda's back in town tomorrow, by the way. I just need to update the map here. 95 degrees Thursday, and as we get on into next week, again, rain chances are going to be there, but there's not a whole lot to this. We'll have more on your forecast coming up at 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Brad. All new today at 4 from the baseball diamond. A former Rocket City Trash Panda officially being called up to the big leagues. Former Panda pitcher Ky Bush has been selected by the Chicago White Sox. Bush will become the 31st Trash Panda in team history to make major league debut. He made 27 starts with the Huntsville team from 2022 to 2023. Bush will make his first appearance with that team against the Oakland Athletics tonight. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon at 4 for the streaming version of our newscast. We'll be back on air at 5 o'clock coming up in just about 35 minutes.
So stay in the loop. Be sure to stick with us on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and YouTube. We have you covered, and you can find the latest on WAFF.com and the 48 News app. We'll see you back here at 5. Have a good one.